Oh my God, a coup d'etat in China is happening against the CCP and Xi Jinping. But that is only happening in the minds of the people who have been heavily propagandized by Western media. I always have problems when I have to say Western media. At least do I have to say it like this with media, right? Anyway, I have it right there. This is your favorite half Chinese, by the way. For the people that don't know me, now you know who's in front on your screen. That ludicrous amateur. Anyway, I have it right here on the screen. Right? The People's Liberation Army newspaper editorial resolutely win the army's fight against corruption and the overall war. There's a lot of things. I'm not going to read the whole article. It is just about this. So you guys know exactly what is going on, or at least in broad lines. Zhang Zhixia and Liu Chunli, as senior cadres of the party and the army, have seriously failed to live up to the trust of the party's Central Committee and the Central Military Commission, trampled and destroyed the responsibility system of the chairman of the Military Commission, seriously contributed to the political and corruption of the military and corruption that issues affected the party's absolute leadership of the army, and endangering the party's ruling foundation, seriously affected the prestige of the military in accordance with the law. Zhang Zhixia and Liu Chunli will certainly be further cleared from the original political source, ideologically anti-drugs and evils, rotten the muscles from the origination, consolidate and deepen the achievement of political rectification training, promote the rebirth of the People's Army, and inject strong impetus into the development of the strong military industry. So that sounded a little bit weird, but please understand this is from a translation from Chinese to, show original. Then you will see when it will jump back. This is the original, right? So, yeah, it is... that is basically it. So what it is not... It is not a coup. It is not a big purge like they want you to know or like you to think. It is actually has to do a lot with corruption, not only like with money, but also inside of the party with, we cannot say exactly what they have done because these are broad lines, these are the cases against them, but there's no content that says because they did exactly this or that or that or that. So we can only guess. And yeah, I don't know how all the other channels can make videos like 16 minutes, 20, 40 minutes. I was like, maybe I can make a video about it that will make like 10 minutes, but we are at 4 minutes now, and basically I'm already done because we cannot say. It has to do with corruption. We also need to understand that in the past, the military used to have their own businesses. That time is gone, or they are eradicating that part. It created a lot of corruption. But what I also read is that there seems to be a disagreement between the party and that high general, which was the highest, I believe, in China, overseeing the military. So if you have a conflict like that, then yeah, that's problematic. But it looks like a little bit of corruption with maybe it has to do with weapons or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I can go on, but then I'm just speculating, right? It's just speculation. I have no idea. And if this is the information that we get from the military of China itself, because this is direct from the PLA Daily editorial, then you also have to understand how do all these other people make such long videos about it and just yapping away? It's just insane, because it's all it is. It's just that little paragraph. That's the only thing that we can say, okay, this is what we know from a credible source, which is the PLA itself, who is involved right at the core of this. I don't know. And yes, probably somebody's going to say, but that's a Chinese source. Yeah, it's a Chinese matter. I just don't know what to tell you. That somebody did that in another video about the Dutch travel vlogger who was in Xinjiang spewing out nonsense, came into my comment section and then said, but you use Chinese sources. Yeah, but I had to show to the people that by law you are allowed to have a hijab, you are allowed to grow a beard, you are allowed to have a Quran, etc. And I was showing where you can buy the Quran in China and the laws of China. And then they come, oh, but you use Chinese sources, we can't trust them. So what do you want me to do? Use the Dutch constitution to prove that they are allowed to practice Islam in China? That doesn't make any sense, right? So please, with these kind of things, you need to find Chinese sources if you are looking, and that doesn't only go for China, but that also goes for other news when there's something like that involved. Please go and look up the sources who actually could be knowing this. Do yourself a favor with that and start reading those kind of things, and then you can put them besides the news that you are being served, and you can say, oh well, this looks a little bit different than the other thing. Well, you might not totally trust, but at least these are the charges. There's no doubt about it that these are the charges. They will never lie about the charges. So they must have some evidence of it, right? Otherwise, how are you going to present it in court? So yeah, I will highly advise people to start doing that, right? Also, if you see things about other nations, and not only about China, but just look it up and see if it makes any sense. Do yourself a favor and search for the truth instead of absorbing and digesting or taking in, devour, things that you might want to hear because it makes you feel good in a certain way or whatever, makes you excited or whatever it is that, anyway, I just tried to fill up the video, and I hope that this also, my fill up for the video was also a little bit educating for the people. Because let's be honest, if I read that and the whole thing is going on, but that's a little bit, nobody's interested in that. Trust me, it's not really about it. It's just, So this is what I have to offer to you. We can be sure that it wasn't a coup. The army isn't rebelling against Xi Jinping. Quite on the contrary, I'm just gonna have to stop it here. Have a great day. I also have a buy me a coffee. If you want to donate, then please do. But there's only one rule. You need to be able to. So that means that you need to have more than enough money to do so. Otherwise, please do not keep your money. Spend it wisely. These are hard times. I understand. Just share my video and like my video and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you will not miss a video. That also makes me just as happy as a very nice hot cup of coffee. Have a great day, your favorite half Chinese.